Headlines are screaming that after 10 years of crash and stagnation, the country is on the move. So whether it's the number of kilometres driven by vehicles on Irish roads, the number of passengers carried by public transport, or the amount of freight being moved by road and sea, the economy is motoring. But for the 2 million of us that take to the road every morning, this is the reality. On average, we're now spending more than 8 days every year sitting in traffic. But it's not just our commute times and our blood pressure that's on the rise. It's also the emissions from our exhausts. As a country, we have committed to dramatically reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, yet they are relentlessly climbing. And transport is a large and growing part of this problem. In this episode, I'm going on a journey to see what the future of transport means for us car owners and how we can get Ireland moving into the 21st century. If there's one innovation that helped define 20th century progress, it's the combustion engine. From air travel to factory floors, and of course, the motor car. Internal combustion engines have revolutionized the lives of billions. It's not just a necessity. There's a freedom that comes with having a car. It's my own personal space, and I have control over when and where I choose to travel. I'm not sure that I'm ready to give all that up yet. But with fossil-fueled combustion engines come carbon emissions, greenhouse gases that are warming our planet and dangerously changing our climate. As well as environmental, there are financial implications. Failure to meet our emission reduction targets, like those in 2020, could result in hundreds of millions in fines. That's less than 2 years away. The EPA is funding research into how we can solve this problem of decarbonising transport, with a project headed by Professor Brian Caulfield.
What will happen if we don't meet our targets?
When we don't meet our targets, what will happen is we will have to either buy carbon credits from other countries or have to pay penalties for this. So the cost of this missing our targets should be weighed against the cost of investment in transport.
Well, then who are the worst offenders when it comes to the emissions?
When it comes to transport emissions, generally the private car and heavy goods vehicles is where the majority of our emissions are from.
Surely we must have some idea of how to at least start down this road. What are we doing?
The answers are, it's not rocket science. It is get people to move more together using public transport. When you have to move on your own, you either walk or you cycle. And then if you are using a car, that it's the lowest emission car possible.
Do you think that if we are going to have cars in the future, at least a move to electric vehicles is the way to go?
At the moment, it seems to be the only way to go. There's certain parts of the country that we won't be able to serve with public transport to the extent that we need to. So they will have to be electric cars in those areas if we are to reach our targets.
Today, Ireland has about 2 million cars on the road, but only a tiny 0.2% are electric. If these cars really are the way to go, why are so few of us driving them? I'm going to meet some electric car owners to find out what it's like to own one. First stop, Mallow, County Cork. And what better way to get there than in an electric car?